The galaxy had known empires for as long as the stars had burned. From the ashes of one, another always rose, the strong consuming the weak, borders painted in blood and fire. But now only one remained, the Krylock Imperium. It was called the last empire, not because of humility, but because it had outlived all others. For 11,000 years, the Krylock ruled. Colossal, multi-limbed, scaled monstrosities bred for war, domination, and endless subjugation, every race, every planet, every voice bent under the weight of their iron rule. Entire species were nothing more than workforce cogs, fodder for their factories or soldiers in their endless wars of control. And for centuries, one planet had remained quiet, isolated, watching Earth. To the Krylock, humanity was an anomaly. A pre-warp civilization that should have perished long ago. They watched from afar, amused, as humans bickered, fought, and nearly destroyed themselves time and again, but the Krylock made one critical mistake, the same mistake every empire before them had made. They assumed that silence meant submission. It started with the sundering of Vos Prime. A Krylock fleet descended upon the Vosans, a pacifist species, demanding their unconditional surrender. The Vos had nothing to offer except rich hydrogen fields, perfect for fueling the Krylock war machine. The Vos pleaded for aid. The galaxy was silent. The smaller species knew better than to interfere, except one signal returned, a short burst. A primitive message from an ancient relay station, long thought abandoned. "This is Terran command. Your attack has been noted. Stand down." The Krylock laughed, literally. Their towering war commanders bellowed so hard it shook their thrones. The Vos system went dark within hours. Cities burned, planetary crust shattered. Billions died, standard procedure, but then a Krylock dreadnought exploded, not from combat but from the inside. Internal systems overloaded, core containment ruptured. No warning, no detection, a second ship followed. Then a third got in less than 8 minutes, the entire command fleet vanished. Panic rippled through the Imperium. This wasn't possible. No known race possessed the firepower or the stealth to bypass Krylock defenses. They dispatched a recon. Nexus fleet, ships layered with quantum shields, psi-warding, and predictive AI warcores. They arrived at Vos... and found only debris. Debris that wasn't Krylock. Debris that was... Terran, but it didn't make sense. These were ship designs no Krylock analyst recognized. Sleek, matte black hulls, no visible weapons. No heat signatures. No energy emissions. As the Nexus fleet scanned the wreckage, their long-range sensors caught a flicker, a gravitational anomaly on the system's edge. They turned their sensors toward it. For a split second, space itself seemed to fold, then tear like a curtain being drawn aside, and then it appeared, a ship, no... A Leviathan, sleek, angular, black as the void. Its surface rippled with adaptive camouflage that flickered against the stars. Zero heat. Zero mass on. Scan. Zero engine signature, but it was there, watching, before the Krylock fleet could even process it. The object acted. Space folded around their lead dreadnought, a localized micro-singularity. Not enough to form a black hole, just enough to crush it like paper. The debris hadn't even stopped moving when the next strike hit, a graviton ripple. Hulls folded, crews liquefied under the pressure, no warning. No communication. No demands. The last surviving Krylock cruiser managed a final scan. And that's when they saw it, etched, burned into the stealth field of the ships. Hull, a simple image, a blue marble, white clouds, green continents, Earth. And below it, a single line of text in ancient Terran standard. "We warned you." The ship vanished as suddenly as it appeared, not warped, not jumped, vanished, as if reality itself had rejected its existence, back on the Krylock homeworld. The Empress of the Imperium raged. This wasn't possible. Humanity was a backwater. A joke, a species barely out of its cradle, she ordered. The extermination protocol. Wipe Earth from existence. Burn it to dust. Show the galaxy what happens when primitives forget their place. A full invasion fleet minus 12 dreadnoughts, 40 heavy cruisers, 200 war frigates, and an orbital bombardment. Platform capable of shattering a planet departed within the hour, but as they exited the jump gate, there was no Earth. At least, not where it was supposed to be. Only empty space. And thousands of blips appearing on their long-range sensors, ships, thousands, maybe tens of thousands. All Terran. All moving. And then every screen in the Krylock. Fleet lit up. No voices, no threats. Just one message burned into every console. The last empire fell when humanity stood. The Krylock invasion fleet stood frozen. 12 dreadnoughts, 40 heavy cruisers, 200 war frigates all bristling with weapons, shields flaring under the pull of local gravity wells. Their sensors screamed as an impossible number of hostile signatures flooded every channel. This wasn't a fleet. This was a wall of Terran steel. The Terran ships didn't match anything in the Galactic database. No engine heat, no warp trails, no weapon signatures. The Krylock's most advanced scanning suites showed nothing, just ghost images, shadows. Then suddenly, the ghosts flickered into focus. Thousands of Terran ships, from sleek hunter-killer frigates to enormous dreadnoughts, the size of moons. Each hull was a seamless matte black designed to drink light. No visible seams, no windows. Only shifting armor plates, moving like the skin of something alive. They didn't look like ships. They looked like predators. The Krylock fleet commander barked the order to fire. Missiles, plasma, lances, graviton beams, subspace destabilizers. Every weapon in their arsenal fired at once, converging on the leading Terran vessels. 1 billion tons of firepower, enough to vaporize a gas giant. Hit. Nothing. The Terran ships were simply gone, not jumped, not phased, just done. Sensors scrambled to locate them. No mass signatures, no electromagnetic traces. Then a whisper, a soft, impossible ripple in space-time. Check your aft. The Krylock dreadnought spun its scopes too slow. A Terran Leviathan, easily 5 times its size, had materialized behind it. No light, no sound. The Terran ship's ventral plates opened, revealing a singular glowing core. Blue-white, light-built, dense, heavy, wrong, A. Graviton pulse detonated. Space itself folded. The Krylock dreadnought didn't explode. It collapsed, flattened into a singularity for half a second before vanishing into quantum dust. That was the first. The rest followed. Silently, efficiently, without mercy. Krylock. Cruisers disintegrated as dark energy beams punched holes through molecular bonds, rendering armor meaningless. Point defense stations, designed to intercept thousands of missiles per second, simply failed. Terran munitions blinked out of phase, bypassing shields and reappearing inside engine cores. Then the Terran fleet activated the blackout array. Communications, gone. Sensors, blinded. Navigation, useless. The stars themselves disappeared from Krylock view, smothered under localized space-time distortions. To the Krylock, the universe became a cold, pitch-black void where death whispered from every direction. Krylock crews, hardened by centuries of conquest, broke. Some screamed. Some tried to flee, blind jumping into empty space only to reappear inside gravitational traps, imploding instantly. Others overloaded their own cores rather than wait for the Terrans to finish them. No mercy was given. No quarter was offered, and as the last dreadnought was pulled into a weaponized micro-wormhole, vanishing with a scream that bent reality, an ominous ripple spread across the galaxy. The last empire had just learned what happens when humanity stands. The Galactic broadcast Terran A has hijacked every relay, every broadcast node, every quantum entanglement network across the galaxy. Billions of species, millions of worlds, all watched in silence as the feed went live. The camera centered on the shattered remains of the Krylock fleet, then shifted to the Krylock homeworld. The Krylock homeworld, once the crown jewel of oppression, now trembled. Terran warships filled the skies. Orbital defense grids collapsed without firing a shot. Planetary shields failed. Cities, once symbols of dominance, flickered under power outages. Then came the first orbital strike. But not on cities. Not on civilians, on the Imperial Citadel, a Terran graviton hammer smashed it from orbit. The mountain-sized fortress folded in half, molten rock spewing into the atmosphere, clouds of debris choking the sky. Across the galaxy, pirate syndicates dissolved overnight. Slave markets shut down, warlords burned their own fleets. Empires, who had never known fear, now trembled at the black silhouettes of Terran, warships lingering just beyond their borders. And then humanity did something the galaxy didn't understand. They didn't claim the Krylock worlds. They didn't enslave. They didn't conquer. Instead, a message broadcast to every species, every government, every living being. The age of empires is over. Stand free or stand against us, your choice. On the shattered throne world of the Krylock, the last empress stared at the sky, at the endless swarm of Terran vessels blocking out the sun, and whispered, not in defiance, but in despair, they were never prey. They were the storm. The Krylock homeworld burned, not with fire, but with collapse. Orbital shipyards rained down in chunks of smoldering debris. Towers that had stood for 10,000 years crumbled into dust. Factories designed for war now stood silent, their automated assembly lines frozen mid-construction. And yet, the humans didn't finish them off. No extermination, no conquest. No banners planted in the soil. Instead, every Terran ship hovered in absolute silence, waiting, watching. Then the transmissions came. A voice, not synthetic, not cold. This is Admiral Sophia Reyes, Terran Defense Command. Her tone was calm, firm. The galaxy held its breath. The Krylock Imperium is no more. Its leadership has been neutralized. Its military assets dismantled. Its oppression ended. A pause, a weight heavier than gravity itself. This is not an occupation. We did not come to rule. We came to end a nightmare. Billions across the stars, slaves, prisoners, laborers, fell to their knees in disbelief. Centuries of suffering, gone in a single day for the first time. In memory, the chains of the last empire broke, but humanity didn't stop with the Krylock. Every slaver fleet, every warlord syndicate, every criminal empire that thrived under Krylock protection was next. Terran shadow fleets, once myths whispered in paranoia, emerged across the galaxy. They struck without warning, orbital assassinations, precision strikes, entire fleets evaporating into light. A galactic plague of violence was purged, not with negotiation, not with compromise, with absolute surgical finality. The effect was immediate. Pirate syndicates erased. Slave markets burned to nothing. Black markets vanished overnight. Entire regions of the galaxy once considered lawless space were now empty, empty of tyrants, empty of oppressors, empty of those who mistook silence for weakness. Humanity didn't raise an empire. They raised a warning. Every hyperlane gate, every major relay, every trade hub, a single Terran Sentinel warship hovered in silence. Not attacking, not enforcing taxes, not dictating terms. Simply watching, waiting on every frequency. Every day, one automated message played, behave. Galactic governments scrambled, treaties were rewritten, old rivalries dissolved. Species who had hated each other for millennia now sat at the same table because the alternative was the Terran fleet. A strange paradox took hold. The most feared species in the galaxy was also the one that enforced peace, not out of kindness, not out of morality, but because humans understood something simple. War was no longer negotiation by other means. War was extinction. On Earth there were no victory parades, no medals, no broadcasts of conquest, only quiet, only solemn ceremonies for the Terrans, who never came home. In the center of Terran space, a monument stood not to victory, but to resolve. A shattered Krylock war emblem encased in glass. Beneath it, a simple inscription: we asked for peace, you demanded war. Never again. Centuries passed. Generations were born on worlds that had once been slave colonies. Now free, Terran technology spread not weapons, but medicine, clean energy, terraforming, AI governance systems. The galaxy, once ruled by fear of empires, was now united by the fear of something far worse. Terran disappointment. Criminal empires didn't fear capture. They feared the sudden, unexplained absence of an entire fleet. Warlords didn't fear negotiation. They feared the stars going dark and never coming back. In the Galactic archives, where the records of civilizations were kept for tens of thousands of years, the entry for humanity was simple, a single line written by an alien historian. Centuries later, the last empire fell when humanity stood. And the stars were never the same again.